There's a wave across the land. We are moving, moving. It takes one step, it takes your voice, saying, I am not hearing if you are not naming it. I am not stopping if you are not changing it. Here are my hands, let's see what they're making. In the morning, in the rise up, there's a bridge from all that's been in the dawning. The vines are pushing through the pavement. We were born of burning hearts. We are tearing off the reins. From the ground up we will build it. From the clouds above we'll rain it. From the crowd up we will raise it. From the ground up.
I'm Nisha Moodley, and this is Devotion, the podcast about showing up in new ways to weave a new world together. Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Devotion Podcast. This is episode 9. And today I want to talk with you about something that has helped guide me profoundly in my journey of over a decade being an entrepreneur. And it is a foundational principle that kind of underpins a lot of the work that I do with entrepreneurs as well. And that is to relate to my business through an animist lens. And when I say that, what I mean is that I relate to my business as if it has its own soul, its own energy, and that I am not here to make it become what I want it to become on an ego level, so much as I am here to nurture its becoming. And if you're not hearing the distinction in there yet, just stick with me and I hope it'll become clearer. I think the best analogy that I can offer is parenthood. So I am a mother, and I am really clear that my son is not me. He is his own person. He is not even an extension of me. I am me and he is him. I am responsible to him. I am responsible to tend his well-being, to nurture him, to guide him. I am also responsible for him. So if he takes an action at this young age to harm somebody, then I am responsible for that. And he came here with his own body, his own energy, his own soul, his own life purpose, his own path, none of which are mine. So he is not me and he does not belong to me. I do not own him. If he belongs to me, he only belongs to me as much as he belongs to the world. And I relate to my business much in the same way, although I don't relate to myself as the mother of my business. I relate to myself as maybe the midwife of my business. But I am not my business, and my business is not me. It is not an extension of me, although I get to guide and shape it in alignment with my values, same as my child. And I am not here to make it what my ego wants to make it, so much as I am here to humbly meet it, greet it, and nurture its becoming. And so this conversation, monologue, is really for folks who have businesses or who are creating in the world, whether you're creating art or writing a book or what have you. So if I reference business, you can substitute whatever makes sense for you at this time. So as I said, I have this animist relationship with my business, and I want to share why that matters to me and why I have that. First of all, I have an animist relationship with my business because I have an animist relationship with life. I believe in animism, and I believe that things hold energy, and that there is an aliveness to things that we would maybe otherwise call inanimate objects. And some people may believe that their business or their book or whatever is something that doesn't exist, and then we put in our will, our labor, and then it does exist. It didn't exist, and now it does because of me or because of us. And I think that that is true in part. It didn't exist on the material plane, but that doesn't mean that it didn't exist on some other plane. And in the same way, I see that about my child. There's this manifestation of him, which is being alive in a body that didn't occur until he started growing, in me. I was the vehicle for his becoming. And I believe that he has a soul and had a soul that existed before he was conceived, and that I had a part in that. Of course, it grew in my body, but also I didn't make him by myself. His soul had a will to exist, and I was an integral part of his becoming, and will be for some time. I remember years ago, my friend Annie Lala told me a story about how her daughter, who I think was about 4 at the time, she said something to her daughter like, "When Daddy and I made you," and her daughter interrupted her and said, "No, you didn't make me. I made myself in you." And I thought, well, there it is. That is how I see things. And I think the value of relating to a business in this way, there are a few things. One, it takes a lot of ego out of it and brings a lot more humility and service into it. So if I am here to nurture my child's becoming, that means that I'm not here to dominate him and to shape him into who I want him to be, how I want him to be, and when I want him to be that way. I am here to hold a high vision for his life, for his becoming, that isn't all wrapped up with my attachments of him being this, that, or the other. But, of course, I have a dream of him being healthy, of him feeling loved and being deeply loving, of him being connected to the earth and to other beings, of him being very caring, very caring and kind and generous and loving. And I get to steer him with the rudder of our values as a family, the values that I hope to instill in him and weave through his life and around his life. But I am not here, as far as I believe, to make him be anything other than who he is here to be. And there's a humility in that, because I've got to if we hold this as true, we've got to be with a lot of attachments, our attachments. We've got to grieve the things that we hoped our child would love or want or do, or be able to do, but are not, or do not want to, or do not choose to, or just not here to be. And there's a humility in that. And there is a humility that comes with growing, tending, birthing a business that we hold a vision for, and we steer with the rudder of our values, and that we are in relationship with, in a humble relationship with, understanding that our plans sometimes have to fall apart and our strategies sometimes have to die on the vine. And that is not wrong inherently. And so it's a placing of vision and values above plans and strategies, which isn't to say that we can't have plans and strategies, but I think the plans and strategies have to serve something. And for me, they serve the values and the vision. And one of my great teachers and mentors and guides in relating to business as having soul is a longtime mentor of mine, Hiro Boga, who I hope to have here one day. But I highly recommend you check out her work. I'll put a link in the show notes. But if this is resonating with you, I want to share a little bit about how you can kind of practically step into this kind of relationship with your creations or with your business. And before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about why this is important to me. I think I'm circling back to what I started saying. First, as I mentioned, this is just how I relate to business and to my creations, that they each have their own soul. And if they are meant to manifest, then my role is to listen deeply and to be courageous and devoted in nurturing and serving their becoming in the ways that are most aligned with the vision and the values that we hold. Also, I believe that when this principle isn't at play, we can cause so much harm. If we are attached to a vision and plans and a strategy, are we really holding the ecosystem, the ecology of the highest expression or the most true expression of our creations becoming? So are we caring for the people who are part of its creation? Are we caring, that includes ourselves? Are we bypassing intuition or things that don't quite align with our values because we have a deadline? And I'm not saying we're ever going to be perfect, but I'm saying that that attachment to the plan and the strategy, I think in that we lose so much and we can cause so much harm, both through the business, to the business, and to the people who are a part of it. And also I experience a lot of people who are in creation mode or who have businesses as often, we're dealing with the highs and lows of what it is to create and to tend something, birth something, tend something in the world. And those highs and lows can bring emotional highs and lows and anxiety and a lot of tension and stress. And when we're in those states, we're more likely to cling to hope, to cling to strategies, to cling to someone else's map of what we're here to create. And I think that if we're not already in the practice of listening in a deeper way for what wants to emerge, for what wants to be created, and how we can really get lost in the process of building and both kind of lose ourselves, lose touch with our own, well-being and the nurturance of all beings in the process, and also lose touch of those values and the bigger picture vision for why it exists in the first place. There are probably more reasons, but those are the first few things that come. And so if this resonates for you, I want to offer a few things that you might explore. First is take some time, if you can, to be with nature, to draw a bath, to take a lazy Sunday, on your bed, or a couple hours after the kids go to sleep, and start exploring what your North Star is. What's your big vision for our world? And what's your big vision for your business or your creation? The biggest picture vision. And for me, that's the North Star. And then what are the values? What are the values that you want to have your business amplify in the world, that you want to have your business strengthen in the world, that you want to have your business honor in the world, and or your creation, right? What are those values? And then I highly recommend building an altar for your business. Now, this is something that I do for my private clients when I'm working with people around their businesses. I do it for myself. I very much recommend it. And what you can do is really connect with the energy. I'm going to use a few words here and you see what resonates, but the energy of your business, the soul of your business, or the imprint, the energetic imprint of your business, connecting with that and just trusting your intuition to gather some items, can be from around your home or from nature, you'll see, and creating a small altar. And you can use the altar to both honor this being, your business, your creation, but also to nourish it, symbolically. You may bring food or fresh flowers or fresh water, something like that, and to commune with it, to connect with it, to be in relationship with it, to ask it what is next. What might you be missing? Where might things be out of alignment with your values? What are you being called into? And I'm not suggesting in this altar building practice that your business's soul of your business is some sort of deity. I'm not saying your business is a god or something. And sometimes when we talk about altars, people get confused about that, or they make assumptions about that. And that's not what I'm inferring here. I'm simply inferring that it's a relationship. And it's not a relationship with a person that I can look into the eyes of or hold or be held by at night. It is it's an idea, it's a dream, it's something that we're weaving into being. And so connecting with it on a soul level, and I find that having this physical manifestation is a really beautiful way to do that. And then checking in regularly. I like to have a practice of weekly sitting with the soul of my business and just doing a check-in. Does it feel, if I really trust my sense of alignment here, does it feel that I'm in alignment? Where are things feeling crunchy or off? What is needed here? Am I being called to step up? And am I being called to slow down? And am I being called to listen? Often, all of those things in different ways. But really taking that time regularly to listen and to listen deeply and to connect in relationship. I think that's the biggest thing I want to say is I don't relate to the soul of my business like it's some sort of oracle telling me what to do and I'm just taking instructions. I don't relate to my partner that way. I don't relate to my child that way. No, this is a relationship. I come as a sovereign being to meet this sovereign being and to connect and to listen. And I still get to guide based on the values that the business is holding and that I hold, and to honor those values always. So I hope this is helpful. I welcome your questions and dialogue. I think this is infinitely fascinating and something that I deeply love to explore and talk about. But here's a little snippet for today. Thank you so much. And coming up in the fall, I have a free workshop called Embody Your Leadership. You can go to embodyyourleadership.com. I originally had this scheduled to run in the summer. We had folks signed up, and I just connected really deeply with the soul of my business. And it was very clear that I needed to wait. And it's the first time in my business in 12 years, 13 years, that I have allowed myself to come all the way to a pause, to a deep pause, and feels really right. So we let everyone know, listen, we're rescheduling. It's happening in the fall. And I would love to have you there. As I said, it's a free workshop. It's at embodyyourleadership.com. And it's all about expanding your freedom to move with vision and devotion in these times and always. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you there as well. Thank you so much for being here, beloved. I want to extend my heartfelt invitation for you to join our podcast Inner Circle for free at devotionpodcast.com. You'll receive access to show notes and free bonuses, including my favorite guided meditation when you sign up. If you loved this episode, please share it, subscribe, and I'd be so grateful if you would leave a review. Our mixing and sound design is by Lou Janot, brand design by Neverland Studio, episode images by Liv Haddon, and our theme song is From the Ground Up by Ayla Nerio. Thank you all, and thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful, and I'll talk to you soon.
We were born up in the clouds above, we're raining. From the crowd up, we were rising. From the ground up, we were building. From the clouds above, we're raining. From the crowd